Okay, I'm going to give some notes and examples for Lesson 15-4, where we are going to be solving some story problems by writing a system of equations. So, the first thing to fill in on the notes is the first step that you'll take. You'll read the story, and probably even just skipping right to the end, you'll look to see what you're being asked to find. And in the case of a story problem that can be solved with a system of equations, you'll be looking for two unknown values. So identify the two unknown values, the two things you're being asked to find, and then assign a variable for each one. X and Y are common variables that are used, but you can use whatever letters you want to use. So the next step is to use the information that was given in the story to write two equations. And each of those equations has to have the two variables that you set up in the first step. Okay, once you've written the equations, then you solve the system that you wrote. You can use substitution or elimination. And then once you've got your solution, check to make sure it's reasonable and answer the question. So, the first examples that I have for us to take a look at are these two here. Okay, and let me just direct you. In the first question says the sum of two numbers is 40 and their difference is 84. Well, the words sum and difference mean addition and subtraction. We're asked to find what are the numbers. So my first step, and you'll be required to do this, is to set up variables to represent the two things we're asked to find. I used X to represent one number, Y to represent the other number. Okay, I boxed that because it'll be a requirement. I need to be able to find it on your worksheet and on your quiz and on your test, and I don't want you to skip that step. So tell me what two variables you're using and what they each stand for. Then write your equations. Okay, I highlighted this first sentence in yellow, first half of the sentence. It says the sum of two numbers is 40. Well, the word sum means addition, and is key for, or a code word for equals. So X plus Y equals 40. And their difference is 84. That means take X minus Y, and it will equal 84. So those are my two equations for my system. And I'm boxing those because I'll be looking for those. I want to be able to find those on your paper. The way those equations are set up, it's perfect for using the elimination method of solving a system of equations. So I put the addition sign out here in my addition bar, but I didn't cross off the y's. You could lightly cross them off, but I need to be able to see your original equations. So don't scratch things off or make a mess of your equations. Okay, the X plus X was 2X, and that's equal to 124 on the other side. So to solve for X, I divided by 2 and got X equals 62. Okay, and so at this stage, once we know one of the variables, we then substitute it into one of the original equations. I used X plus Y equals 40. And so it was 62 plus Y equals 40. And then I subtracted 62 on both sides and got Y equals negative 22. And so those two numbers, if I check them, if you add 62 plus negative 22, you get 40. And if you subtract 62 minus a negative 22, it's addition there, that adds up to 84. And so I think those are reasonable. So my answer is the numbers are 62 and negative 22. Okay, in the second story, it says there are 812 students in a school. The number of girls is 36 more than the number of boys. How many boys attend? How many girls attend? So the unknown things in this case are how many boys, how many girls. You could use X and Y, but I used B and G because that makes more sense. B for the number of boys, G for the number of girls. Okay, the yellow sentence here says there are 812 students in the school. So I can turn that into an equation by saying that B plus G has to equal 812. The number of boys plus the number of girls has to equal 812. Okay, the turquoise sentence says the number of girls is, that's equals, 36 more than the number of boys. How many boys attend? How many girls? So that green sentence there, if I just take it literally and translate it, the number of girls, that's G, is, that's equals, 36 more than the number of boys. Well, that means add 36 to B, the number of boys. So here's one equation you could write based on that sentence. I know some students will jump right to G minus B equals 36. That's fine, you can use that too. But I just encourage you, if a literal translation works for you, go with that. The way these two equations are set up, I can easily just do substitution. If G is equal to B plus 36, I'm going to put B plus 36 in place of the G in the other equation. So B plus 36 equals 812. If I add the like terms, I get 2B plus 36 equals 812. And subtract 36 on both sides, I get 2B equals 776. And if I divide by 2 on each side, I get 388. The number of boys, 388. And so if I take that number, B is 338 or 388. If I add 36 to that, I get 424 for the number of girls. And I can add those up. 388 plus 424 is 812. And this number of girls, 424, is 36 more than 388. So that's my answer. There are 388 boys, 424 girls. Okay, the rest of the problems on this worksheet, it's the same general process. You will feel not very confident, some of you, at first, but the only way to get better at this is to keep practicing and try it. Start by defining the variables, X and Y, or C and D, whatever you want to use. Okay, and then try and write the equations. You can work in groups, work with a friend, talk these through, and then see how it goes.